So imagine your favorite animal in the world. Now imagine there's only one of it left, and you have two choices. You can choose to keep it in captivity where it's safe, or you can choose to let it live out the rest of its life in its natural habitat where it will probably die of unnatural causes related to climate change, habitat loss, or illegal poaching. For a lot of people, having an exotic pet is really appealing, but for other people, it just seems kind of cruel. This may vary with what your favorite animal is too. Some species do better than others in captivity, which is part of what I'm going to talk about. I want to discuss today the objectivity, or rather, I want to discuss objectively the idea of zoos. My name is Nix. I've been involved with exotic animal outreach for 4 years now, and so I like to think I know a thing or two about this. Anyway, the zoos do a lot of their work with the general public. They attract over 100 million visitors annually, and really, these are just the people who actually go to zoos and not the people who have zoos come to them. So some outreach programs will do, or some education programs will do schools and things like that. The one that I work with, we go to several schools a year, generally speaking, or we did at least pre-COVID. This quote really stuck out to me. People won't protect what they don't love, and they can't love what they don't know. So zoos offer people the experience to see animals up close, and you might be able to see them in a documentary or a book, but for some people it really just isn't the same. Some studies have found, though, that there really isn't any significant increase in people who are directly involved with conservation as a result of zoos. For me personally, I went into exotic animal education because of the experiences, the hands-on experiences that I had as a kid with animals. That said, just because I am involved with exotic animal outreach does not mean that I want to ignore or dispute the detriments that improper captive keeping can cause. For some animals, it's just impossible to help them do well in captivity. Orca whales, for example. And for others, we can keep them in captivity, but we really can't give them the space or the things that they need to carry out natural behaviors. One study found that 35 species of captive carnivore are not kept in enclosures large enough to display natural habits, which is a really big issue. Gorillas in captivity, 70% of gorillas have heart disease, whereas the condition in nature is pretty much non-existent. So those are really some of the drawbacks of physical health concerning captive keeping of animals. But zoos are able to study the animals more closely. So they produce thousands of research papers each decade. They spend millions of dollars each year just in the US on research. So there really is a fine line to be drawn. And that line gets even thinner when we think about the amount of species that have been saved by zoos and by captive breeding programs. Some species don't even exist in the wild anymore, but captive breeding programs hope to reintroduce them into the wild in the future. There is one species of kingfisher that is an example of this. So, but another drawback, I guess, of keeping animals captively is we don't just deal with the physical health problems that animals have when they're kept in captivity. We also deal with a lot of psychological stuff. Most people don't realize that animals can suffer mentally from the same ailments that we do. Giraffes get OCD. Penguins get depressed. It's really sad. And it's because there are some animals that we just, like I said, can't keep properly. So, all in all, we just need to find that fine line and walk that fine line between conserving animals and keeping them happy and healthy. And that really is all there is to it. Zoos may not be the perfect solution for conservation, but they're certainly, I feel, a solution to conserving animals. And conservation doesn't just involve keeping the animals alive and keeping the species alive. It also involves learning about them and understanding them, not just physically, but psychologically, so that we can do better by the animals. Thank you.